This is NJ Sports Media on the Sideline, and we are at historic Woodman Field in Montclair. Hi, everyone. I'm Lou Brogno. We are going to preview, of course, the Montclair-Nutley football game coming up this Thursday night, October 2nd. A historic game here at Woodman Field. It will be the first night game in Montclair High School football history. But before we get to that, a couple of huge games last weekend as well. None bigger than Bergen Catholic taking on St. Edward of Ohio. The Crusaders going into that game 2-1 on the year, taking the 13th ranked team in the nation, and at one time, the number 1 ranked team in the nation in St. Edward. This game was played at Overpeck Park in Palisades Park, and the Crusaders were looking for victory number 3. Dramatic ending to this one. As we pick up the action in this game, Bergen Catholic got on the board first. A 6-play, 58-yard drive. Jared Guarantano caps it off with a 15-yard touchdown run, giving the Crusaders the lead. They went up by the score of 7-3. Then St. Edward came back, 65 yards, 5 plays. Cole Guess capped it with a 39-yard touchdown run. He heads to the end zone to put St. Edward up by the score of 10-7. And the score remained that way until 3 minutes, 19 seconds left in the fourth. Guarantano engineers a tremendous drive. An 80-yard, 8-play drive for the Crusaders. Guarantano hits tight end Mike Anello. With just 26 seconds left in the game, the Crusaders win it by the score of 14-10. Guarantano, a tremendous effort. 18 of 24, 188 yards passing in the game. In the second half, he was perfect. 9 of 9, a touchdown pass, and he also did the job on the ground. 11 carries, 64 yards. After the game, of course, a tremendous celebration. The Crusader Crazies saying, "We're back." Indeed they are. Bergen Catholic 3-1 on the season with a huge win over St. Edward, and they get ready for Paramus Catholic coming up this weekend. We'll preview that game a little bit later on. It also was a big weekend for the Ironmen of Don Bosco Prep, once again taking on a big out-of-state opponent, and this time in the Sunshine State, taking on Fort Pierce Central in Florida. Bosco, as you might imagine, they were ready for the challenge. Bosco strikes first. Wesley McCoy, a 2-yard touchdown pass to Kyle Kleinberg. And Bosco goes up by the score of 7-0. They run the score to 14-0. Malik Baker with a 6-yard touchdown run. Central comes back. John Cobby, 7 yards from Jake Celandinio. He makes it 14-7. Bosco then puts on another nice drive, capped off by Leo Vargas' 27-yard field goal. The Ironmen are up 17-7. In the third, with the score 20-7, Baker with another touchdown run, this time from 5 yards out. The Ironmen add a 2-point conversion. They're up 28-7. And in the fourth, Lawrence Stevens caps it off with this 5-yard touchdown scamper. Bosco goes on to win by the score of 41-14. The Ironmen are now 3-0 on the year. What a game for Lawrence Stevens. An interception, a fumble recovery. He recovered an onside kick and had a 5-yard touchdown run. He did just about everything in this one. Greg Toll, by the way, his record is now 24-4 versus out-of-state teams since 1990. Bosco will have a bye week this week, and then next week they will take on Paramus Catholic. So the Paladins with 2 huge games in a row. Speaking of huge games, as we said, Nutley taking on Montclair this week, and the Maroon Raiders of Nutley are off to an unbelievable start. They're 3-0 so far this season, and in each victory they have put up over 40 points on the scoreboard. Last week, senior Joe Iorio recovered a fumble in the end zone to get the Raiders on the board. They led it by the score of 7-0. Then with the score 7-7, Rob Malillo, a 28-yard touchdown strike to Pete Russo. Nutley goes up by the score of 14-7. Craig Merkel turning defense into offense. He picks it off and then takes off. An 80-yard touchdown return, pick 6 with 6:47 left in the second. Nutley is up by the score of 21-7. Merkel again, this time on the offensive side of the ball. He takes it into the end zone with a 15-yard touchdown run. In the third quarter, senior tight end Jason Hoffman with one of the spectacular catches of this early part of the season. Fully extends a diving grab in the end zone. 35-17, Nutley on top. Now with the score 35-27. Once again, it's Merkel who takes off. No one's going to catch him. A 48-yard touchdown run, piling more points on the scoreboard for this prolific Nutley offense. They go up 42-27. They win it 49-27. And now Nutley set up. They are 3-0 on the season, taking on Montclair, which has a record of 1-1 on Thursday night. It's a special night here at Woodman Field. It'll be the first night game in Montclair history. This is an intense rivalry in the Super Essex Conference. And earlier in the week, I had an opportunity to catch up with Montclair head coach Fiore. We talked about the big rivalry game against the Raiders. We're here in Montclair with Coach Fiore. Coach, exciting game coming up this week against a Super Essex Conference rival in Nutley. I know it's a big night and the first night game here in Montclair.
Yeah, we're really excited. Due to the Jewish holiday, we had to rent lights so we could play Thursday night. It's apropos because it's a Sun Smart Bowl, skin cancer awareness. Can't do better than getting out of the sun by being in at night. So we're looking forward to that. Nutley is a traditional rival of Montclair's. They're 3-0. They're scoring a ton of points. They have one of their best teams ever. So I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Tell us a little bit about the special night. You said it's for skin cancer awareness. What's behind that?
Well, it's the Sun Smart Bowl. We had a quarterback named Festa, and they had a quarterback back in 1959, and our quarterback was 57. They played against each other, and both of them died of skin cancer. And their daughters, to bring awareness, have started this Sun Smart tradition and this awareness for skin cancer, giving out free sunscreen that night and just bringing awareness to all our athletes because their dads, they feel, contracted it being athletes and being out in the sun all the time for their respective sports. So just trying to bring awareness to the young group that's coming up now in our athletic programs. They've done it for soccer, football, and all our sports. So looking forward to it.
Always a big rivalry game whenever Montclair takes on Nutley. The kids get extra pumped for this?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a little bit of a rivalry border. Everybody knows their names. They know ours. We've played youth football against one another at various levels. And, with the advent of the Sun Smart Bowl, we were in the same division a couple years ago, but then they became our crossover when they moved down divisions because of the Sun Smart. So it was just a good traditional rivalry and easy game to schedule. Coach Bazile does a great job with him and his staff, and looking forward, like I said, to the challenge. They're averaging about 35 points a game, and, we have a week off, so we had a little extra time to prepare. I hope we don't come out flat, and we're jacked up like we were against Union City.
You mentioned you had a bye last week, and of course you had the big win against Union City. What about your team's performance in that game, bouncing back after the tough early season loss?
Well, I think it was big to bounce back. Everything, Pascack Valley's a great team. Coach Nielsen does a great job. And, they had a ton of kids back. We were young. No excuses. They beat us that night. But, what we told our guys is the next week, I don't care about the outcome. I just want to see effort. Give me a positive effort out there on every play, and positive things will happen. And they gave it to us. And, I think we kind of dominated that game and had a nice dominant performance by our O-line and D-line. And we both know O-line and D-line, they're the ones who win the games. Forget about all the glitz and glory of the guys in the newspaper. Give me 5 great offensive, defensive linemen, I'll win every year.
As you said, Nutley's off to a great start, 3-0. They're scoring a lot of points. What's the key for your team to make it 2 in a row here?
Well, defensively, we got to play doing our responsibilities, that kind of football. They're option football. So if our guy has the quarterback, he's got to take the quarterback. Can't do it somebody else's job. Just do your job. So as long as we do that, take care of our responsibilities in the framework of the defense, I think we'll be pretty strong like we were against Union City. Offensively, we got to hit our open receivers when we have our chances, and we got to open up holes for our running game again.
Terrific. Thanks, Coach. So, as you might imagine, it should be an electric atmosphere here at Montclair. The first night game in the storied tradition and history of Montclair Mountie football. Another huge game coming up this weekend, no question. Bergen Catholic going up against Paramus Catholic. As we mentioned earlier, the Crusaders with that huge win last week against St. Edward of Ohio. And Paramus Catholic undefeated on the season. The Paladins in come-from-behind fashion defeating St. Ignatius of Ohio, erasing a 14-point deficit to do so. Paramus Catholic is 4-0. Bergen Catholic is 3-1, and Paramus Catholic has gotten a lot of outstanding offensive contributions early on in the season, including that of Marquise Spence last week, their outstanding wide receiver, who really had a big breakout game. How about this? 12 receptions, 168 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game against St. Ignatius. PowerPoint-wise, Paramus Catholic number 2 in non-public group 4, Bergen Catholic number 3 in non-public group 4. It's a huge game with lots of implications. Bergen Catholic, Paramus Catholic, and of course, you can see highlights of that game next week right here on the sidelines. That'll do it here from Woodman Field in Montclair. For everyone here at NJ Sports Media, I'm Lou Brogno. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, taking a look at some of the big games that happened in this first weekend of October.